Hello, my friends. Hey, I'm as you can see on screen here. I'm watching this video, and it's a TED Talks, and I usually like TED Talks. This one drives me crazy. It's called a TED Talk on income inequality by Nick Hanauer, and this guy is a rich guy. He's been you can look if you pull up the video. It'll tell you all about the guy. But he's a rich guy. I pulled him up on Wikipedia, and he's a serial. What do they say? He's an American entrepreneur and venture capitalist living in Seattle, and apparently he's made quite a bit of money from what little bit I've read from him. And he is he's basically what he's saying is that you should increase taxes on rich people to do good things with that money, and that's what's better for everything. And that rich people don't create jobs. It's the government that creates jobs by taking rich people's money to help out the middle class. So anyway, this is a topic which drives me nuts, because what it basically says is that the government can spend your money better than you can. Now I know you're thinking, well, it's rich people's money, so that doesn't really count. Well, I will just say that rich people spending their money is better for you than the government taking the rich people's money and spending it on you. So I just want to listen to this guy's thing. We'll just play it, listen to it, and I'm going to stop. And so I apologize. This video is probably going to be long, because his video is at least 6 minutes long, or just shy of that, and then I'm going to comment in between, so it's going to take some time to dissect what this guy's saying, but I think it's important, and hopefully by the time it's all done, I will have debunked what this guy is saying. So without further ado, let's begin.
It is astounding how significantly one idea can shape a society and its policies. Consider this one. If taxes on the rich go up, job creation will go down. This idea is an article of faith for Republicans and seldom challenged by Democrats, and has indeed shaped much of the economic landscape. But sometimes the ideas that we are certain are true are dead wrong. Consider that for thousands of years, humans believed that the Earth was the center of the universe. It's not, and an astronomer who still believed that it was would do some pretty terrible astronomy. Likewise, a policymaker who believes that the rich are job creators and therefore should not be taxed will do equally terrible policy.
A policymaker who feels that the rich should not be taxed will do equally terrible policy. It will be terrible to not tax the rich.
I have started or helped start dozens of companies, and initially hired lots of people. But if there was no one around who could afford to buy what we had to sell, all those companies and all those jobs would have evaporated. That's why I can say with confidence that rich people don't create jobs, nor do businesses large or small. Jobs are a consequence of a circle of life-like feedback loop between customers and businesses.
Okay, that is so much gobbledygook. It's like, what is this? It's one that is just gobbledygook. You can't even wrap your brain around what that guy just said. But I'm going to rewind it, listen to it just one more time, one little bit more here, and then I'm going to dissect it. But oh my gosh. Here we go.
Confidence that rich people don't create jobs, nor do businesses large or small. Jobs are a consequence of a circle of life-like feedback loop between customers and businesses.
Who wrote that?
Only consumers can set in motion this virtuous cycle.
Okay. All right. Business people, okay, people like us, whatever. Everybody wants things. Let's say I want food. I want some food. I want some beans. I want some rice. I want some steak. Nobody, and there's no steak out there. So I start looking around. It's like, who's going to give me some steak? I want some steak. Somebody gets the idea, hey, Paul wants a steak. and I know where to get a steak from that farmer over there. So I'm going to buy some steak from the farmer and I'm going to sell it to Paul. Or I'm going to buy it from the farmer. I'm going to sell it to a bunch of people. And I'm going to do some calculations and I'm going to determine who wants, different items, and I'm going to provide it to them. That's the way the world works. Somebody says, I think I'm going to create a shaved ice snow cone stand in Timbuktu. And if people want it, they'll buy it. If they don't, they won't. And that person goes out of business. So you can say that the demand, which is created by the people in a community, creates the opportunity, which a businessman capitalizes on by seizing that opportunity, providing the steak or the snow cones or the Walmart cheap hammers and knives and toilet paper, whatever, to people. But the rich people are, the masses, the consumers, all they are is people who want something. Somebody has to give it to them or provide it to them to create the exchange. Somebody's got to have the steak. Somebody's got to have the snow cones. And who does that? Whoever stands up and says, I'm going to go make it happen. It could be you. It could be me. I don't care who it is. Whoever makes it happen. That's who makes the job. He says, he creates his job number one is himself. He goes, I am now employed in finding and providing steak to the public who wants it in my town. I am the number one employee of company snow cone. And then he might say, now I'm selling some snow cones here. I'm going to hire somebody else. My wife's going to come to work. I'm going to put my kids to work. My neighbors, my cousin, my mom, my dad. Now I'm going to start hiring people. I'm going to start hiring people because there's enough people that want it. I'm going to keep building or growing or shrinking if people don't want it. To say that rich people, they don't have to be rich. They could be poor. But it's the business owner. It's the maker. The business owner is who makes the job. If the middle class or whatever, he's equating business owner and rich person and middle class person and consumer. So basically, he interchangeable rich business owner, middle class consumer. So however you want to look at it, whoever is the business owner is writing paychecks. That's called an employee. If you write somebody a paycheck for selling steak on your behalf to consumers, that's called a job. And who writes the paychecks? The business owner, the rich man or rich woman in his story. So on we go with his story.
Of increasing demand.
I have to rewind just a little bit just to get a flavor for what he's saying.
And businesses. And only consumers can set in motion this virtuous cycle of increasing demand and hiring. In this sense, an ordinary consumer is more of a job creator than a capitalist like me.
That's ridiculous. Yes, the demand is there because of consumers, but, somebody's got to step up and provide it.
That's why when business people take credit for creating jobs, it's a little bit like squirrels taking credit for creating evolution. It's actually the other way around. Anyone who's...
I've heard this like 3 times, and I have no idea how that analogy... that's ridiculous. Okay, look at our world around us. Imagine our world 500 years ago, 400 years ago. How about here in the United States? 400 years ago, there were some Indians, and there might have been a few white men or different people that had gotten here, but pretty much not too much going on here. It's a flat, it's an open plains, it's a forest, there's cows, there's nothing going on here other than just nature. And then people come here, and if none of them had the gumption to start a business, people would build their own house and have some cows, but when you talk about somebody saying, I want to build roads, I want to I want to build buildings, I want to make a business, I want to make McDonald's, I want to make Starbucks, I want to make You know, I want to provide cars to people. I want to build clothes that people, so people don't have to make their own clothes on a loom and a, you know, weaving and sewing their own clothes themselves. I want to make shoes so people don't have to make their own shoes. I'll make thousands of pairs of shoes in any size you want. I'm going to make light bulbs, and I'm going to make food in little packages, and I'm going to can the food, and I'm going to dry the food, and I'm going to grow the cows, and I'm going to sell them to you in the steaks in the supermarket. All those things happening are all business, 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 business. Look at everything you touch. You know, pen, cup, mouse, phone, everything, table, chair, clothes, glass, you know, sun contacts. I don't have contacts, but this computer, the TV you're watching it on, your computer, it's all everything around you. I mean, maybe you painted the picture on the wall, maybe, but you painted it with paint that you bought from a business owner, on paper that you bought from a business owner, and using light from light bulbs and electricity, both provided by business owners. So people, we would still be here milking our own cows and you know, digging holes and planting seeds by hand or with a stick if business owners hadn't put it all together and put us all to work. I mean, we'd all have jobs. Our job would be dig your, you know, plant your wheat and milk your cows. That's what our job would be. Little house on the prairie, if it weren't for business people. All these jobs that we all go to, well, I mean, I'm not planting wheat. I'm not milking a cow. I'm doing my other thing. I'm doing my job, and 99% of us are doing that. And you know, there might be some people who are out there homesteading. The rest of us are benefiting from business owners, people with gumption to hire us. I mean, who gets a paycheck? I bet that guy doesn't get a paycheck. He writes paychecks. So how can a man who has started businesses say something as ridiculous as what he's saying? I would say he's probably deep in the pockets of some liberal politicians, and he has something to gain from it, and that's why he says these ridiculous things. But let's listen some more.
Ever run a business knows that hiring more people is a course of last resort for capitalists. It's what we do if and only if rising consumer demand requires it. And in this sense, calling ourselves job creators isn't just inaccurate, it's disingenuous.
Oh my gosh, this guy's so full of smoke. Okay, a business owner does a calculation. He knows that if he sees an opportunity, hey, there's more people coming in, and if I've got another employee, I can make more money. Hire. You keep up with demand. You exactly match your your labor force to demand. Of course, you don't want to hire people to have them sit around and do nothing, but of course you don't want to have people walking in the door wanting to buy something and you don't have enough employees to serve them. So demand drives the labor force.
That's why our existing policies are so upside down. When the biggest tax exemptions and the lowest tax rates benefit the richest, all in the name of job creation, all that happens is that the rich get richer. Since 1980, the share of income for the top 1% of Americans has more than tripled, while our effective tax rates have gone down by 50%. If it was true that lower taxes for the rich and more wealth for the wealthy led to job creation, today we would be drowning in jobs.
Okay, there are so many issues at being thrown together here. First of all, why does there need to be such a high rate of taxes anyway? I mean, if me and you want to do business together, let's say you sell something and I want to buy it, why can't I just buy it from you and you take the money? And why does the government have to tack on sales tax for me? Why do they have to tack on labor tax for you? How about we'll just do a deal? You know, when you go to a garage sale or a buddy wants to sell you something, you just exchange goods for money. And you don't, call the government, and you don't feel compelled to call the government to say, hey, government, I just sold this couch to my buddy for his man cave. Should I, do you want some of the money for it? And I had some friends come over to help me move it. Do you want some, should I pay you some money for their labor they did? No, you don't want any part of that. You just want to interact with people without people taking a piece of it, without the government taking a piece of it, without being taxed on it. So, but let me back up a little bit. This guy is talking about the rich get richer when you don't tax them. Yeah, they get richer. And what do you think the rich people do with their money? I mean, it's not like when you say they're richer, they got $800 million, $1.5 million under their couch or, in their safe in the basement. They don't. Whenever you see how much a rich person is worth, what you do is you look at his net worth. And how do you do that? By looking at the businesses he owns, his investments, his portfolio, his stock portfolio, things of that nature, his house, whatever. And all of those things relate back to business. It's like, so I own a business and my business is worth $1 million. And guess what? My business provides things that people want to buy and employs people to work there to service the customers. The rest of my money is invested in stocks. What are stocks? Stocks are investment in other companies that sell other products that people want to buy. And guess who works at those companies that my stocks are invested in? People, employees, you, me, everybody else. We work at companies. We work for, for companies that provide things. So rich people's money, rich people are, how'd they get rich? Unless they stole the money or bribed their way into that money, which you have to have money to bribe people. But the general way to get rich is to be smart with your money and invest it wisely in companies that turn a profit. And the way you turn a profit in America, unless it's by stealing, unless there's some disingenuous way of doing it, it's by providing services that people want to services or goods that people want to buy. You can't put a gun at somebody's head and say, buy my stuff. They have to give it to you willingly. So every successful company was able to coax you into willingly giving you their money in exchange for some good. And if you didn't like it after 1 or 2 times, then that company probably went out of business. So the odds are, if you look at businesses around you that have been in business for a while and that are successful, it's because they do a good job providing you what you want or what people want around you. So rich people just means that their money is smartly being applied towards giving us what we want. What did they clap about? I just have to listen.
Today we would be drowning in jobs.
I might say we would be drowning in jobs if the government weren't taking about darn near 40% of the GDP. The government, okay, think about this. The government is gigantic. 16% of the population works for the government. They spend other people's money on other people, which is the most wasteful way to spend money possible. Now, if you spend your own money on yourself, you're really careful with it, you want a good value, and you want a good product. If you spend your own money on somebody else, you want a good value, but you're not as concerned about the quality because, after all, it's for somebody else. If you spend somebody else's money on yourself, you don't care about value because, after all, it's their money. But since you're spending it on yourself, you want high quality. Have you ever gone out to eat and the boss says, I'm buying? What does everybody do? They get, they're like, oh, well, let's turn to the expensive pages here. What's the steak? And, that's the way people work. So, and then what's the last one? You're spending somebody else's money on somebody else. You don't care about value. You don't care about price. It's like, it's not my money. I don't care. So that's what the government's doing. I mean, the government doesn't make anything. They don't make roads. They don't make shoes. They don't make steak. They don't make computers or TVs or anything around you. The government doesn't make any of that. All they do is they get in between me and you and everybody else who's trying to do business. Now, yes, they create the police forces are important, an army to protect us, that's important, and a system, court system. Yeah, we got to have laws enforced. But other than that, I don't think we need 16% of the population and 40% of our GDP going towards those things, which I don't ever want to see police officers. I don't ever want to see army people. I don't ever want to go to court. But yet, there's such government involvement. That is what sucks jobs away. Can you imagine doing business with people and 40% of the proceeds get sucked off the top? I mean, that's pretty much a disincentive to a smooth working commerce.
And yet, unemployment and underemployment is at record highs. Another reason that this idea is so wrong-headed is that there can never be enough super rich people to power a great economy. Somebody like me makes hundreds or thousands of times as much as the median American, but I don't buy hundreds or thousands of times as much stuff. My family owns 3 cars, not 3,000. I buy a few pairs of pants and shirts a year like most American men. Occasionally we go out to eat with friends. I can't buy enough of anything to make up for the fact that millions of unemployed and underemployed Americans can't buy any new cars, any clothes, or enjoy any meals out. Nor can I make up for the falling consumption of the vast majority of middle-class families that are barely squeaking by, buried by spiraling costs and trapped by stagnant or declining wages. Here's an incredible fact, that if the typical American family still retained the same share...
I gotta pause. I might sound like a broken record here, but he's saying, I make hundreds or thousands of times more than your average Joe, but I only buy 3 shirts a year. We've got 3 cars. I can't spend that much money. That's not what rich people's value is. The rich people's value to society is their knowledge and their ability to wisely and to analyze new products, new opportunities, and apply their riches towards those opportunities. A new business, a new opportunity, a new invention, a new service, whatever it is, they are, how else can they get money? And how else can they, that's the only way to make money, is by generating money with a business that, and businesses must coerce, or not coerce you, finesse you to give them money. So the only way rich people make money is by providing good things to society. That's what people don't get. What do you think rich people are doing? They're not stealing from you. They can't steal from you. You can flip them the bird. You do it every time you get bad service at a restaurant. You're like, screw that place. I'm not going back. Every time somebody who's working on your car rips you off, you're like, screw that guy. I'm not going back to him. I hope he goes out of business. I'm going to tell everybody to never go there again because he ripped me off. And you do it, and I do it too. We beat up bad businesses. We tell people about bad products. Like, go to Amazon, look at any product, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. We only gravitate towards the best products, the best prices, the best service, the best companies. Rich people are investing in those companies. They're creating those companies. And if they fail, they fail. If they succeed, they succeed. But you and me are voluntarily giving money to companies. Let the rich people make, and whoever's got money, shoot, I don't have to be rich to give a few bucks towards a company, or a lot of bucks, or $1 million bucks, whatever it is. Just let the market take care of itself. If the government gets involved, which is what this guy is going to suggest, then they're going to shove it down your throat. You will take this product. You will take Obamacare. You will go to the DMV. You will, do you want to go to the DMV grocery store, the government grocery store? Here's your carrots and celery. Go home and eat it. Here's your chicken skins. Go eat them. No. Would you let the government control your entertainment? No, you like, I know what movies I want to buy. I know what shows I like to watch. I will do my own. Thank you very much. Hollywood can make movies, and they can try to determine what we want to watch and make movies. I don't want the government telling Hollywood governments what shows to show me. I don't want them telling the grocery stores what food to serve me. I will buy what I want to buy. The grocery stores will figure it out, and they will provide me what I want to eat, and that's the way it works. That's why we've got grocery stores jam-packed full of wonderful food. If the government gets involved with it, they don't lose money if something goes wrong, because they can just keep taking it. They don't have the profit motive and the loss motive to force them to keep on giving you what you want, because they're going to go out of business if they can't give you what you want. The government gets involved, the government's not going to go out of business because they'll take more money if they have to. So this guy knows he's lying. He knows he's full of it, but on he talks.
Of income that they did in 1970, they'd earn like $45,000 more a year. Imagine what our economy would be like if that were the case. Significant privileges have come to people like me, capitalists, for being perceived as job creators at the center.
I'm going to back this up.
By stagnant or declining wages. Here's an incredible fact, that if the typical American family still retained the same share of income that they did in 1970, they'd earn like $45,000 more a year. Imagine what our economy would be like if that were the case. Significant privileges have come to people like me, capitalists, for being perceived as job creators at the center of the economic universe, and the language and metaphors we use to defend the current economic and social arrangements is telling. It's a small jump from job creator to the creator.
He's saying that job creators think they're God.
This language obviously wasn't, this language was not chosen by accident, and it's only honest to...
It wasn't chosen by accident. Whoever came up with the term job creators wanted you to think that they're gods.
To admit that when somebody like me calls themselves a job creator, we're not just describing how the economy works, but more particularly, we're making a claim on status and privileges that we deserve.
Yeah, rich people think they're better than you. They're saying that they have a higher status, and rich people are actually bad people because they equate themselves with God, and they put themselves above you, a higher status, a social status greater than you. They think they're better than you.
Speaking of special privileges,
and of course, these rich people deserve special privileges.
Extraordinary differential between the 15% tax rate that capitalists pay on carried interest, dividends, and capital gains, and the 35% top marginal rate on work that ordinary Americans pay, is kind of hard to justify without a touch of deification.
It's hard to justify without a touch of deification. In other words, you have to think you're God to only have the government take 15% of your investment capital. Okay, broken record time. First of all, 35% of the top, that's the top wage rate. If you make $250,000 a year or whatever, the government's going to take 35% of, the highest amount. Yeah, that's wrong. I'll agree with that. Why should the government take 35%, a third or more? If you go to Florida, like Mick Mickelson, the golf player, some of the professional golf players, they're paying 65% of their income. 2/3 of the money they earn goes to the government. Now, that's state, federal, payroll. If you think about all the, if you keep adding up the taxes like sales tax, property tax, it gets up to 65%. I've heard it broken down for people that are really rich. So yeah, that's wrong. I'll agree with him there. But then he's saying, how can these people, they have to think they're gods. They have to make a deification to think 15% of this certain type of investment, if they're complaining about that. Don't forget, that money that we're talking about that's taxed at 15% is the money that creates all the jobs, that pays us all, and all those employees are paying federal income tax and state tax and FICA and Social Security tax and Medicare and all that, all those other taxes. And then they go and spend all that money, and then they get taxed on everything they buy. So why not let them create jobs? Why not just get out of their hair and let them create jobs for free? Who's that going to hurt? Who's it going to hurt to let people with investment extra money? Who's it going to hurt to just let them go create jobs with it? Do you see harm with that? I don't. In fact, I might want to go work for one of those companies. And if the government takes 15% of their money, then maybe they'll be able to hire 15% less people. Maybe they'll be able to provide 15% less products and services and inventions that I might want to buy and that you might want to buy. So I'm not really convinced that it's a bad idea to just let them create jobs and give me employment and services and products that I want to buy. How about you?
We've had it backwards for the last 30 years. Rich people like me don't create jobs. Jobs are a consequence of an ecosystemic feedback loop between customers and businesses. And when the middle class thrives, businesses grow.
Okay, he's saying rich people don't create jobs. Jobs are created as an ecosystem, a feedback loop between customers and business. Well, you know what? Somebody's got to throw down and say, all right, I'll do it. I will mortgage my house. I will max out my credit cards. I will fill out all the paperwork. I will spend all my savings to build this building, create this product, hire these people, and if I go out of business, I lose everything, or I lose everything I've invested. I'm the one who's got the guts to do it. So that person, in my opinion, gets to say, I created the job. If he's saying that anybody other than him created the job, then he's full of crap. The other people, the consumers can say, I wanted the product, but they have to say, and that business gave it to me. And that business has employees. And that guy or that woman who's the boss, the owner, hired those people that work at that business. So that person who owns that business created the jobs.
And hire an owner's profit. That's why taxing the rich to pay for investments that benefit all is such a fantastic deal for the middle class and the rich.
Okay, so that's why taxing the rich to pay for investments that benefit us all is such a good idea. So that's why taking money away from the rich, the government would be the one taking it away, so that the government can spend it in ways that they think will benefit everybody is such a good idea. Because the government can decide what you need better than the free market can. Somebody in Washington has a better vibe, a better understanding of how this economy works, of how to provide food and shelter and clothes and businesses and cars and everything else. They've got a better understanding than that entire network of people and businessmen and experts and college graduates and people who've been tried and true, failed and succeeded and tried and failed again to figure out how to give you exactly what you want. Experts in their field, scientists, inventors, mathematicians, economists, all working together in this huge network to give you exactly what you want, called the free market, the invisible hand of the market. The government can do it better. The government's got it figured out better than all of those experts. The government, somebody who's been elected, who's paid off by a few business people that say, hey, throw benefits my way. The government who gets the same $100,000 a year paycheck whether they succeed or fail, who might be having a bad day, who might be hungover, who might be mad at their wife or their husband, and they don't give a crap if they make a bad decision, or just give, let's give the money, the tax money to my buddy. He's got a business over there, and whenever I retire, I'll go work for him and I'll be rich too. I don't care about if the people are benefited by this product. All I care about is looking good, getting reelected, getting a lot of money when I get out of office, hooking up my friends, I want things to sound good, you know, green business, that sounds good. Save the whales, minority businesses, you know, veteran businesses. What, you know, what's hip? What's trendy? You know, let's just do that. What the heck? I mean, and I'm just one guy. I've got some, you know, some interns working me for some 20-year-old kids, writing up my stuff so I can, you know, the politicians think that they're one brain with their few people and their lobbyists telling them what to do, can outsmart, can outthink, can outmaneuver, can out plan the economy from business people who, if they make a mistake, they lose all that money. Do you think that that the rich people who are going to lose all that money aren't thinking harder about it? They've got experts lined up. They're doing their research. They've been tried in the fires of failure and success of the real business world. They are, you know, they're keenly aware, keenly in tune, and keenly motivated to give you what you want in the best, most efficient way possible. So for this guy to think, to even in this last phrase, make the assumption that the government can outsmart the free economy, that is the most ludicrous, hypocritical thing. And this guy, he's rich. He's admitted it. He's started millions of businesses. How could anybody lie? How could anybody be more of a bald-faced liar than this person is? Unless he's just, well, maybe he's deluded. I mean, you know, if you want me to give him the benefit of the doubt, he is deluded beyond belief if he actually believes what he's saying. But I suspect he does not. So let's back up a little bit and listen to his last few minutes, or last minute here.
That's why taxing the rich to pay for investments that benefit all is such a fantastic deal for the middle class and the rich. So ladies and gentlemen,
oh, it's a great deal for the rich, for you to take away their money and spend it for them in ways that you think are best, but ways that they, of course, would not think were best. Oh, that's a fantastic deal for the rich.
Spreading. In a capitalist economy, the true job creators are middle-class consumers. And taxing the rich to make investments that make the middle class grow and thrive is the single shrewdest thing we can do for the middle class, for the poor, and for the rich.
Okay. I know I sound like such a broken record, but who is making the decisions? He's talking about these great investments. Who's making the investments? I mean, if I gave you $50 billion or $50 million, I mean, tax money, we're talking big bucks here. I said, okay, why don't you make just some really smart decisions for what what we all need? You know, go ahead and get some experts, do what you need. You know, what you will find is that no matter who you are, you cannot decide what is best for society. Because you know what's best for society? A million little things. This society wants an ice cream store. This little town over here needs a hardware store. This little town here needs a lawyer, and over here they need some people to mow the lawn. And over there they need a new Walmart. And over there they need to put that bad grocery store out of business and start up 2 smaller grocery stores to service both sides of town better. And then on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Every story is different. Every community is different. Every town is different. Every person is different. One person in Washington or one group of people, they cannot decide arbitrarily what is best for every community. Every community is unique and different. And the minds and the people and the money, they're on the spot, knows what needs to be done. Not somebody in Washington, the people there on the spot, the community. If I come to your town or your home and I say, what do you need? And the government says, well, I want to take some money away and I'm going to give you free health care or give you whatever. You might say, you know, I really need to buy a new car. or my daughter needs braces, or I really want to invest in a vacation with my wife so we can improve our happiness because we're stressed out, and we could just, or I want to put a, I want to, buy a new ATV, or whatever it is that you want to do with your money. You know what's best to do with your money, not the government. The same is true with every community, every, across the board. The government, some little group of people are not going to decide what to do better with your money than you are, or your community is.
Thank you.
Okay, and they're standing and applauding for this guy. Next time you go to the grocery store and you've got your list and you got your money and you've got your budget, just imagine if the government grocery store appointee or elected official says, "Hey, glad you got here. All right, today don't you worry, because the government can make this investment better for you. And it's a great thing for the middle class, and it's great for you too. So go ahead and hand me your money, and then just go wait over there, and after a little while, we're going to bring you your groceries. And don't worry, we know what's best. We're going to have bags of stuff that we think is best for you. So hand over the money." Anyway, just some food for thought. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.